Welcome. Masterclass. That's what I'm doing. My name's Chris. I'm from the Freedom Club, which is a school that you can join for free to come and learn dropshipping. And I'll just share my screen here real quick. 1 second. So this is the Freedom Club. We are a school. We've got thousands of members from all around the world. And we teach people to build dropshipping stores and scale them to, like, I've got a student here who's done $127,000 in profit this year, selling a product that I never ever would have thought it worked. And look, we've got more examples here with Jenny and Richard. We teach you guys how to do it. That's what we do. That's what I do day in and day out. And we'd love for you to come on and join the platform and give us a try. I'm going to go invite all my students in, and tonight's going to be special because I'm going to be talking about Facebook ads day to day, what you should be doing with your account and how to get from where you are to where you want to be. So give me a second. Let me invite all my students in, and we can get started. Welcome, Freedom Clubbers. It's time for Marketing Masterclass. We should call it a Masterclass. We shouldn't call it Marketing Reviews. I'm going to see if I can change it. This is a Masterclass. If you were here last week, or actually if you're new, welcome. If you're here last week, fantastic. Today is going to be a bit different to usual. I know a bunch of you probably got a bunch of questions. Yes, six questions. We'll get to those if we get to them. We probably will have time to get to them. I know you want answers on your ad accounts, and we'll get to that. But for those of you who are here, this is going to be one of those lessons that you're going to thank whoever you thank, whatever God you pray to, that you were here today. We're going to talk about the exact process to test your Facebook ads. The call with Austin's just wrapping up. All right, well, let's give everybody just a couple of minutes to jump on into this one. I'm excited. It's going to be fun. God knows if I'm going to be able to get everything from this head out to you guys in some kind of a concept you can understand, but I'll do my absolute best. While I'm doing that, I'm going to go and load up some example ad accounts and try and show you guys kind of what the end goal is, I guess. Louisiana? That's a fairly unique name. Welcome. Renee, can I answer your question if it's a quick question? Your account is my pause. You understand? Yeah, you want to have a question about Wheelio, caching, and net margin. Can I have a look at your Wheelio, please? I cannot. I don't think I have access to your store. It seems to be working pretty good. 8%. Yeah, 8% is pretty good for Wheelio. Even though you didn't realize, it still had an old form popping up as well. How many seconds do I put for users leave intent? And what is my gravity percentages on discounts? Okay. That's an easy question for me to answer. So first up, on Home Craftology, I have two forms. I have one form that pops up with Wheelio on exit intent only. It doesn't have a timer. It only loads up on exit intent. And I have another form that pops up on Omnisend, which you guys probably might have Klaviyo. And that form pops up after 12 seconds on the website. No exit intent, no scrolling behavior, none of that. It's really, really simple, just 12 seconds. And this is what I use this is the formula that I use on most of my websites. In fact, I've just started testing on my fashion website what happens when I have a pop-up and an exit intent that are two separate pop-ups, and it's kind of working okay. In terms of the gravity, now, if you're wondering what we're talking about, in Wheelio, this thing spins over into the middle of your screen. It's a spinning wheel, and it's got lots of different offers on there to get the user excited to win something. And you can have like 10, 20%, 30%, $50, $100, and it gets them entering their email address, and it spins and they win a prize. And you have the ability in Wheelio to choose which one's going to be the winner. I have 100% of the gravity on the same offer that's in my welcome series. That's how it works for me. Whatever offer is in my welcome series, That's the offer that Wheelio is going to offer. So on Home Craftology, it's 15% each and every time. Renee, you thought you had exit intent to start, but both Wheelio and Omnisend were popping up. Yeah, so go check Omnisend. Make sure you've only got it on a timer. And then make sure that Wheelio is only on exit intent. All right, we've got 8 people in here. That's probably enough to get started. Everyone else can kind of watch on the replay. So the question was last week, and I think it came halfway through the call on Thursday. Somebody said, Chris, can you tell me what I'm supposed to be doing to test my ads? And I was like, yes, I can tell you. It's going to take longer than I've got. And today I wanted to start. I've done this a few times, and every time I do this is probably a little bit different. And I can tell you now, if I'm just spitballing off the top of my head trying to tell you guys how to create your Facebook ads, this is probably going to be a little bit different to the way that Austin teaches. Just going to say it up. And it's not that Austin says the wrong thing. He's 100% correct. And it's not that I'm saying the wrong thing now. It's just I can't possibly regurgitate the exact same thing every single time I say it. And the biggest thing to understand about Facebook ads, it's like somebody saying, I'm going to teach you how to build a house. And you go to Bunnings and follow a blueprint. Actually, it's not like that at all. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that Facebook is a tool and you can use it many different ways. That's what I'm trying to say. Facebook is a tool. In fact, Facebook has a bunch of different tools and there is no one way to structure an ad account. So the best bit of advice that I want to start off with is if you're the kind of person who goes onto YouTube and you look at all the gurus out there trying to tell you how to set a Facebook structure up and how to click this button and you get this result, none of that works. That is all complete and utter horse shit. Okay, there is no guru out there who has a magic formula to make this work. Trust me, I have tested every single one of their ideas. It's not that they didn't work, they all kind of just work the same. Facebook's really good at figuring out how to get you the best results. It really is. So through this working with Freedom Club, I've got access to, so many Facebook accounts. And occasionally I go through them and just see what's working. Just sort of tick through them all and go, oh yeah. The amount of stuff that I've seen that's working just tells me it doesn't matter what your structure really is. It doesn't matter. I've seen people scale accounts with one image in one ad set in a campaign. That's not how I do it, but man, it worked for them. It hasn't worked on a single one of my accounts, I'll tell you that, but it worked for them. And I've seen the complete opposite. Many different ad sets, many different ads in them, and somehow it's working. I think if it's working, it's working. If it's not, you just wish that it was. And what I'm going to give you today is a set of tools that you can use to hopefully help you understand what you're doing. Because if you understand what you're doing, you can play the game. If you don't understand what you're doing, you're just making a mess. Does that sound like any of you guys? Any of you guys just making a mess in your account and you got no idea what you're doing? You're just randomly turning shit on and off and duplicating stuff and hoping for the best. Sticking your finger in the air and going, yeah, I think I need to do this. Is that where you guys are at? We're going to change that today. We're going to change that for sure. You're making a mess, Lawrence. Awesome. Simon making a big mess too. Fantastic. Not fantastic you're making a mess, but fantastic that you know exactly where you are. It's actually step one. Know where you are. Renee, you've been making a mess for a while. All right. So given that I told you that Facebook is a set of tools for you to use however you want, and I also told you there's no magic way of doing this, all I can tell you is how I do it. That's all I can try and explain is how I do it. And you're going to have to make some decisions there about, does this make sense for me? If you just try and replicate what I'm doing without understanding the why, then you're not going to get any better. Lawrence, you can't learn without making a mess. You're not upset you're here to learn. That is really, really, really good advice. In fact, if you look at the accounts that I've got that I've created that are working, they all go through this period of making a mess before I make my masterpiece. All right. Where do we start? Let's start with what we're trying to do, okay? The end goal of Facebook ads is really, really simple. We want our Facebook campaigns to make enough money and that they cover their own cost, the cost of the product, and a little bit for my back pocket. So that's the end goal. We want our campaigns to make money. If you make too many campaigns, and if you have too many ad sets, doesn't mean you can't make money. You absolutely can. It's just, it's very hard to, because the more complexity you add into your Facebook account, the more money you've got to spend figuring out which configuration is actually going to work for you. Because there's going to be a configuration, or there hopefully is going to be a configuration of ads that's going to make your campaign work, hopefully. And if not, then it's your product. The demand of a product is so important for all of this working. It is probably the most vital part. And some products just don't have the demand to make your ads work. But there are so many products that do have the demand to make your ads work. And man, I've been so bloody impressed with how many ideas you guys have had. And sometimes I look at a product and go, you get a few sales, but I don't think it's going to make it. And boom, you're making 100 grand a month. And I'm like, wow, I should really test more products. That's what I should really do. So the end goal is to have a campaign that's going to make you money. How do we get to that point? So inside your Facebook ads, you've got campaigns, and we'll take a look at some structure in a minute, but you've got your campaigns, you've got your ad sets, and inside your ad sets, you've got your ads. We all understand that. Now, inside of your campaign, I want you from now on to start thinking that your campaign is the leader of a team inside of an office, and everyone in that office is their job is to get sales, get on the phone, call up potential customers, and find new people to buy your stuff, right? So inside an office, that's what every team is doing. They're calling up, they're finding a new customer, they're making sales. A campaign is a manager of a team, or a manager of a section, really. And his job is to make sure all of the sections are working nicely. You may have one section that a manager is working with, or you may have several sections that a manager is working with. His job is just to manage, and that's what your campaign does. Now, under your campaign, you've got your ad sets. Those are individual teams. Individual teams of people working together to go and sell your product. Now, how do you structure those ad sets? The best way that I've found is to give each team, just like in the corporate world, give each team a function, right? So if you're doing this in like marketing, you might have one team who calls up old people. You might have another team who calls up unemployed people, another team who calls up mothers, another team who calls up dads. And the reason why you want to structure it like that is so that each team can get individually better at talking to that type of person. So the people who talk to old people, they sit together, they talk together, they share ideas together, and they get better at calling old people to get you more sales. Okay, that's how your Facebook structure mentally should work. Does that make sense to everybody? So your ad set is a bunch of people sitting in a team, getting really good at talking to a specific type of person to sell your product. So when you're building a campaign, you might have an ad set, and inside of this ad set, you make ads to target that specific type of person. Let's just say you have an ad set, and this is for women who are 45 and above, and they have their children, they have children, and it's a children's product. So your ads in that ad set will talk to women 30, 35 and above who have kids. They'll all be centered around that idea of knowing who you're talking to get that person to convert. Another ad set might be for single dads, and you'll have ideas, concepts, text, headlines in that ad set that convince a single dad to buy your product. That's kind of where we're going with this. Now, for most of my businesses, I haven't really had to do that. I haven't had to go down the macro level and have different ad sets for different people. Most of the businesses that I do, I've got one campaign, one ad set, and a bunch of ads in that ad set that work really well together. And I'm targeting, the reason why it works for me is because I'm targeting one specific type of person. So for home craftology, I understand the person that I'm trying to advertise to. It's mostly a woman over 35 years old who suffers with anxiety, who loves craft, and suffers from boredom. And if I can talk to those people in a way that makes them feel makes them trust me, I'll probably get the sale. I've tried other avatars for home craftology. They didn't work. So I can just do this. Now, Michael, you're saying you've just been doing broad targeting the whole time. And it's, if you can get a product to work on broad targeting, fantastic. But you may actually find if you really start to isolate some of your ad sets to speak to specific people, maybe it'll work better for you. And you can even go down into the targeting of the ad set into the interest targeting. And I have actually found that I get significantly better results on some stores when I do specific interest targeting. In fact, most of the stores that I've done this for perform better with specific interest targeting. Now, what interest should I be targeting? The best interest and the first interest you should be targeting is engaged shoppers. On Facebook, there are millions of people, like what, 20, I don't know how many people in Australia, 15, 20 million people in Australia are on Facebook. And a lot of those are bots. If you want to carve out a firm line between real people and fake people, the first thing is, have they purchased something online? Anyone who's purchased something online goes into the engaged shoppers group on Facebook. So at a bare minimum, you should probably try doing an interest-based targeting on engaged shoppers. Michael, older women are your number one customer. So you've ordered UGC from middle-aged women. So hopefully that works. Great. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And then the image ads you might create would all be made to have good language and good imagery for women who are in the older category, right? Now, you might try a younger category for one ad set. You might try targeting women who are 25 to 35, and maybe you can find an angle that will work for them and only for them. And that's where having maybe a separate ad set works. Now, end goal. The end goal is to keep your account as simple as possible. Yes, you can have different ad sets that talk to different types of people. Absolutely, and Facebook encourages that. I want you to understand one thing. When you add more than one ad set, you start adding complexity. Now, Facebook is a great AI, but it has its limits. And the more ad sets that you have, the harder it is for the AI to actually figure out who should be in which ad set and who should see which ad in each ad set. And I've always found, for me and for the brands that I've worked with, and I've worked with, you know, a handful of high-level brands across Australia, I've always found that when I simplify it, Facebook performs better. When I start adding in different ideas, and no matter how brilliant I might think they are, it nearly always, not always, but nearly always makes Facebook perform worse. So keep things tidy and simple. Right now, if you're going to keep things tidy and simple, how in the hell do we test our bloody ads, Chris? That's probably what you're thinking. That's the meat and potatoes, right? How do we test our bloody ads? Let me show you. Let me show you my account. So this is Homecraft. Now I'm currently spending on this account $1,500 a day. I would love to be able to spend more, but as I spend more on Homecraftology, my cost per purchase goes up, and this is pretty much where I am happy to leave at the moment. If I start putting more budget, cost per purchase goes up, and I lose my profit. Okay, and I can do that for a little while to find new customers, but I want to have some spare money. So this is where this is sitting for now. Now, it might not always be this way. I'm probably going to start in the next month or two my next round of ad testing, and maybe I'll have an absolutely killer ad that will push this purchase price down at this scale. Yeah, I could get there. Now, how would I do that? In order for me to find this ad set to do this well, I currently have, I think, let's have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 live ads in this ad set that are all doing fairly well. To get here, I have tested, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say probably 150 different ads. And now, it's not an individual ad that works well. It's actually the ad set itself that works well. You can see here, I tested different targeting too. We tested engaged shoppers, paper crafts, new coloring book, and crafts. For me, engaged shoppers performed better than all of them, so that's what I chose. Now, it's not, like I said before, it's not an individual ad that gets you sales. And look, I know there's going to be people out there that will say, hey, Chris, I've had one ad and one ad set and one campaign, and I scaled it to the moon. Great, that's fantastic for you, for that product. That's fantastic for you. I love that for you. For everybody else, where your product is a little bit harder to sell, or its value isn't inherently clear to everybody, we have to have a little bit more of a robust ad set. And it's the combination of these ads in this ad set that works to get you the sales. You have to, our goal here is to find the perfect combination of ads inside of our ad set to get you purchases. Do I target engaged shoppers? Yeah. So if I look at the ad set here, so I'm targeting Australia, Canada, United States, because they were my top countries. I am targeting women, and I'm targeting engaged shoppers. Now, it's only a suggestion. I have played around with going into further limiting the reach of my ads. I haven't always found that to be beneficial, so I've kept it off. I wouldn't recommend we do this. I haven't got enough data to say whether we should or shouldn't do that. Maybe I'll work on that next. So this is how my targeting looks. Now on my fashion store, it's a bit different. I've got engaged shoppers here, but on my fashion store, I go a bit further, and I have other things here like handbags. Handbags was one of my best keywords for my fashion brand with engaged shoppers. So it's people who include engaged shoppers and also are into handbags. That's how you can niche down. Now don't niche down too far. 2 levels is enough, but you can put multiple things in here too. You've got fashion accessories, and all kinds of ideas like that. If you help Facebook understand who you're trying to target, it's usually, in my experience, it usually gives me better results, usually, than just plain old broad reach to everybody, usually. Okay, so the end goal is to have yourself an ad set with your top ads. How many you say? You probably want to know. Give me an exact figure, Chris. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the exact number of ads that you have. What matters is your return on investment. If you have a good return on investment with 5 ads, then 5 ads is what you need. If it's 6 ads, if it's 7 ads, then that's what you need. You'll only know by adding in another ad and seeing how it plays with all the other ads. Govi, when an ad set already has some running ads, how do you make a new ad set? Yep, I gotcha. I will get there. We'll get there, my friend. We shall get there. Because there's lots of different scenarios here of how we manage our ads within our ad sets. So I just want to keep you guys coming back to the basics. The basics is the end goal is to create an ad set that works at scale. Okay. For home craftology, I'm going to tell you one method I use for home craftology. And there's so many methods to do this. I'll show you home craft, and then I'll show you my stones and ash one as well, because it was different. Ads. Give me a second, guys. I'll get that set up while we're talking. I did things differently on my Stones and Ash website, and I'm just at a point right now where I'm about to hit the accelerator button and scale this puppy. It's very exciting. Okay, so for home craftology, this is an account that's been running for a long time, and this is an ad set that's been running since August 2025. The idea behind this was I already kind of knew my best ads. I had all of my best old ads and a couple of my best image ads, and after months and months and months of testing, I put all of my best ads into this. Now, how did I get to that point? I tested meticulously with ad sets and combining different ad sets to make this. Lots. We'll go through my testing process after this. But now I've got this ad set. So what would I do? If I had a bunch of new ads on home craftology, what would I do? Well, what I found is if I just want to make a slight change to this and add in a new ad set, as I did here in October. Ads. I said ad set, I meant ads. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new ads to pop in October. Now, my options are, I could have duplicated this and put all of my new ads into the duplicated ad set. And that could have been something that I did. And that may probably be what I'd recommend to a lot of people. That way you won't go back into learning on this one and you won't lose momentum. However, I didn't do that this time. This time, I literally just duplicated one of my ads that was inside here and uploaded the new video and yeah, what's it called? I pressed proceed and I loaded it in. My ad set didn't go out of learning. Not a single time while I did this. I only made probably adding 1 or 2 videos a week every time I did this, so it wasn't huge changes, but it didn't go back into learning. I don't know if that's because this particular ad account has had so much data on the pixel that it quite literally comes out of learning very quickly, or it could be my ad spend is so high that when I add a new ad in there, it only takes a few sales before Facebook's got enough data to go out of learning. So if you have an ad account that you have scaled somewhat and you want to test some new ads, I don't think you need to be as concerned about going back into learning as you think you need to be. That's the current state of play in 2026, in my opinion. So what I do is I add new ads in here. I watch how they're doing. I look for how much we're spending. And what I'm looking for is where is most of my money going? Well, most of my money is going here into my top of funnel. Now, top of funnel here, spent $11,000, $44 a purchase. We're at a ROAS of 2. That's profitable. That's nice. That's fantastic. We want a top of funnel ad to be profitable, but it doesn't always need to be. If your top of funnel ad is not quite profitable, or is borderline profitable, or is just break even, fantastic. That's not terrible. I don't see a lot of top of funnel ads being highly profitable. Homecraft is a different story, but usually I see a top of funnel ad being break even and the ads below it being what brings the profit in. In Homecraft's case, as you can see here, we've got lots of ads that are pretty much doing the same. I could probably turn off some of these, but I do like having the different ads. I like having different things for people to see. My cost per purchase has risen over the last 30 days, which has been annoying. If I look over the last 60 days, it was 41. So it has gone up by $5. That's not cool. So what you might find is you might put in a new ad and it gets no spend. Don't panic. There's ways that we can still test your ad, and we'll speak about that shortly. So that's one scenario. Scenario number 2 is you can put your ads in and your ad gets all of the spend and doesn't perform. And that's probably what most of you would experience as well. Either it doesn't get any spend, or it takes all the spend and doesn't perform. Or the third thing is it takes all the spend, it performs really well, and you move up to silver or gold or whatever, and you're drinking champagne on a beach, right? So let's go back to scenario 2. What happens if you put your ad in and it takes all of the spend and it doesn't bring you the results? So to me, that tells me one thing. If I put in a new ad and it takes all the money, it takes all the spend, Facebook thinks that ad is a winner. And it means that it's getting the most engagement out of all the other ads. Facebook works on engagement. It will elevate your ad if people are engaging it with likes and comments or views, not necessarily sales, because you got to remember, we care about sales. Facebook cares about the integrity of its platform, and it loves people engaging with its platform. It would rather have people engage with your ad than have people go to your website and purchase from you, because it makes money when people engage. So when an ad gets a lot of engagement, gets all of the ad spend, if it's not bringing in the money, we have a problem. And it's a problem with a gift, really. The problem is you need to make a better ad. The gift is Facebook said to you, hey, this ad's getting engagement. There is a chance that you could make something very, very, very similar and have it convert really, really well. So when I have an ad that's taking all the spend and not doing well, I turn that ad off and I go back and I workshop it. I look at the first 10 to 15 seconds of the ad. Well, usually my ads are only 15 seconds. So the first 5 seconds of my ad, is it clear that we're solving a problem in the first 5 seconds? Do we see the product that we're selling in the first 5 seconds? Is there an attractive face in my video that will get eyeballs? And do I have the right call to action? Do I have, could this ad be better? And quite often I might take a UGC ad that is in this situation, take it to my video editor and say, hey, this ad almost works. Just change the first 5 seconds. And sometimes we just change the clip in the first 5 seconds to be a slightly better hook. And sometimes we just add in, 5 seconds talking about in more detail how it solves the problem. Re-upload that ad. It takes the spend again and boom, it starts converting, because it's not just getting the engagement, but it's also getting the buyer intent. We have to have an ad that gets engagement and has people going to your website with buyer intent. Now, another scenario that you could find yourself in, a lot of people, it might be clicking on your ad, but they're not purchasing. So either it's in the first category that I said where there's no buyer intent. Well, actually, both cases are buyer intent. The first one that I said where you were getting lots of engagement but no buyer intent, so you change it up and you show all the things earlier in the ad and it works. It could also be that your ad is too vague. And there's a type of ad that you feel a pull to want to know what the product is, but you're not really wanting to solve that problem. You're just like, what is this bloody product? What is it? And if you are wanting to know what it is, but you're not wanting to buy it, you will click the ad. That ad becomes the favorite. Facebook shows it everywhere, but you get no sales. That's a curiosity click. And we want to try and avoid a curiosity click. We don't want that. We want buyer intent clicks only. So if your ad is the top spending ad and you're getting no sales, it's one of those two things. Can't be both. It's one of those two things. Either your ad just isn't solving the problem yet, or your ad is bringing in too many curious people. And if it's bringing in too many curious people, just shelve the ad, start again, make something new. If you feel like your ad is on the other side of things where you could just improve it, then do that. Does that make sense? All right, let's talk about what I did differently for my Stones and Ash website, which is just about to scale. I say that I've been teetering on this edge of being profitable enough to scale. Now it's there. And all I got to do is slowly bring my spending up. So I've got 2 products that I'm selling on Stones and Ash at the moment. The sling bag is, I've tested probably 100 different ads on this one. And I was in this situation where I really was confused with what was working and what's not working. So what I do is, instead of going and actually editing this ad set, what I will do, if this particular ad set was bringing in, say, I need things around $30 for a purchase price. At $30, I'm very profitable. At $45 to $50, I'm breaking even. And for the longest time, this campaign was giving me $50 purchases. I just needed to find a way to get it around that $30 mark more consistently. And I was getting really confused with what I was doing. So rather than just putting ads in and out of each ad set, I'm also doing ad set level budgets. Yeah, man. I actually prefer ad set level budgets. On this account, we have CBO and ABO. My preference is ABO. Honestly, I've heard gurus say that you can't scale an ABO. You bloody well can. Of course you can. You can scale anything. I've seen people scale an ABO with 1 ad in it. Doesn't matter which one you choose. It's a tool, and they're both slightly different. I do wish the tote bag was with the ABO. I do wish, because when I have an ABO, it's so much more easier for me to handle multiple ad sets. If I have a CBO and I duplicate it, then I can't manage the spend on them. And I might have one ad set that takes all the spend, and my other CBO that will probably perform better gets no chance in hell. So when trying a new product, do we use CBO or ad set level budget? Up to you. Up to you. There are benefits for the CBO. The CBO gives Facebook, it gives its AI more ability to do what it thinks is best, but it takes that from you. It takes that control from you. So if you are not confident in your ads and you've got no idea what you're doing, maybe a CBO is better for you. But if you want to sit here and learn how to manage this thing like a professional, I would say an ABO is the better thing. Now, I've got a CBO for my tote bag. I wish it was an ABO. I'm not going to change it right now because it's making money, but probably in the future, I'll probably go and create an ABO. At this point though, it really doesn't matter because my CBO has only got one ad set. So both of these situations, ABO versus CBO, only really matter if you have an ad set. So if you have a campaign with multiple ad sets. So you see here with my Slingback, I've got my ad sets A1, A2, and A3. To help me figure out the best combination of ads for this product, I tested individual ad sets for a little while. So I tested A1. We got like, I don't know, let's say $60 cost per purchase. And I was like, great. I then pause that ad set when I feel like I've got enough data. I duplicate it and turn it into A2. And then from here, I decide, what do I want to test that's different? And I turned off a fair few ads, and I just tested my top few performers to try and figure out of the ads that I had in the previous ad set, which configuration actually works. And then I actually took the winners of that one, duplicated it again, made an A3, maybe added an ad here and there. But this way, I'm kind of breaking up my progress and seeing if my cost per result is actually coming down when I'm testing out my new configuration of ads. So that it's, as I keep going, I'm going to end up with A4, A5, A6, and each of those is going to be a slightly better version of the previous one that hopefully either does better or worse. And if my next one does worse, turn it off, go back to my previous one. So this is my new concept that I'm currently doing to help me figure out when I have multiple products that I'm trying to advertise, multiple websites that I'm trying to do at the same time. This is what I'm doing to make it easier on myself. That way I know what I was doing back when I did A1. You could just do what I did with Homecraftology and have the one ad account, but it becomes very messy because if you want to go back in time and have a look at how you performed back then, it's really difficult to remember what you were actually doing. Now, if I go back and I have a look at the last 60 days, it doesn't matter when I did these ad sets because that data will only apply for a certain period of time. And that's why I think this way of doing things is easier for my brain to understand. So when I get my next set of ads, I'll be duplicating A3. I'll be turning off the ads that I don't want anymore, and I'll be adding the new ads in that I want to test. And I'll be testing it that way. Would it be fair to say that an ABO is better for testing? A CBO would be better for your ad set with tested and proven winning ads? Maybe, but that really depends. See, I've got people who mentor me, and they swear that a CBO gives them better results. But I've got access to way more accounts than they have, and I can tell you, it doesn't make a lick of difference, performance-wise. Doesn't make a lick of difference. I would say CBO even maybe is a detriment to you because you lose your control. You can go in a CBO, right? I could put multiple ad sets on, and I could go into an individual ad set here, and I could go and put in a different budget. How do you do that? I've done it a few times. You put a minimum spend on this ad set, and that will help you test multiple ad sets. But I don't like doing that because when I did that last time, it turned into a huge mess, and I had winning ad sets that just completely died because I was forcing Facebook to spend a minimum spend on them. It was a mess. Now I keep things really, really simple. The only reason I have a CBO here is just because that's what my business partner created when he set it up, and it was working, so I just didn't stop it. But with the way that I do things, and I have one campaign and one ad set, choosing ABO or CBO doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If anything, I'll choose ABO just because I can then have multiple ad sets if I want. Michaela, do I test new ads first before putting them into your ad set A3? No. Let's just say it was I had a bunch of 3 new ads. Like I have a new UGC and I have 2 image ads that I want to test. What I will do, I might not even turn off A3 because this is making me money. This is working nicely and I want to keep making money. I'll simply duplicate A3. If this was an ABO, I would duplicate A3. I would call it A4, and I would leave both running for a minimum for a small time, and I would test A4 with my new ads in it, making sure that my new ads actually get some spend, so I can figure out if they're good or not. And if they are good, then I keep A4 going. It becomes my new favorite ad set, and I turn off A3 and put all of that budget into A4. Hopefully that gives you guys a bit of direction. That's how I think of things. That's how I do things. Always keep it simple, guys. Don't try and reinvent everything. Don't listen to gurus out there. Make it make sense to you. Your goal is to have a configuration of ads in here that work really, really, really well together. They have to work well together. Your mission is to find the best combination of ads possible and to keep searching for better combinations. That's the whole game. That's all it is. How you get there, if you've got a better way of doing it that works for your brain, then do it. But don't try and replicate 3 or 4 different ideas from different YouTubers out there. If Austin tells you to do something and it's not what I've told you to do, but you feel more comfortable doing it the way that you want to do it, you do it the way that you want to do it. When you're talking to Austin and myself, you just have to be able to explain to us what is your strategy and how are you finding your best ads. We've done everything. We've tested every possible combination. He knows what works for him. I know what works for me. You need to know what works for you and explain it to us so that we can understand what you're trying to do when we're looking at your accounts. Michael, you switch to ABO. If that works for your brain, if that works for you, then fantastic. Michaela, what would my max ads in a single ad set? For me, there is no max. There is no max. However, that's an interesting question now that I think about it. According to the max is 50. You can only have 50 ads in an ad set. Facebook training that I've been through, because I get industry training through my what's it called, my ad agency, and honestly I think it's a huge waste of time because I think Facebook has no idea how their product works. They told me in their training, the more ads you have in your ad set, the better Facebook will perform. But I know from testing, the simpler number of ads you've got in your ad sets usually makes Facebook perform better. So what is my max ads? That is up for your product in your account to decide. If you add 15 ads, but 10 perform better, stick to 10. You can do an A/B. If you really want to get technical, rather than just duplicating your ad set, you can actually do an A/B test. So you can go and actually create an A/B test here with A3. You can pick your ads that you want to do, and you can literally run side-by-side testing to figure out what is the best configuration for your ads. All right. As clear as mud? In a testing campaign, how much cost per result average should it be in the UK and Australia? Look, that really depends on the product that you're selling. So I've got products where it needs to be $30 in Australian dollars for me to make money. I've got products where I can spend up to $50 for me to get a new customer and still make money. I've got a product there where I can spend up to $100 and still make money. It depends on how much margin you have. And I can tell you, the person who wins at Facebook ads is the person who has, in your industry or in your niche, who has the strongest margin. Margin isn't just about your product margin on your product. It's also about how well your website converts, how big the basket sizes are. Can you convince people to put more than one product in your basket when they check out? Those are the things that determine your cost per result and what it needs to be. Michaela, do I increase my budget straight away as I put more ads in? No, I will never increase my budget when I put more ads in. Absolutely not. And the reason for that is you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if one bad ad is going to get all the spend and you're going to wake up tomorrow wishing you didn't just waste $400. So if I'm going to test a new ad set, I will usually have in my own head, like I like $100. If an ad set spends $100 in a day, that's usually a good indication that it's spent enough money to kind of get a good feeling of how it's going to perform. For some people, they can't afford $100 a day, so they're spending $20 a day. Spend what you can afford to lose, because at this point, it's gambling. At this point, it's gambling. We don't have, it might not be exactly gambling, because you might have a really good idea of what ads already work and you're just testing a couple of new ads. So it's sort of less risky gambling, you know. It's gambling with a system. But once we have an ad set that performs really well most days, that's when I will scale it up. And that's where Homecraft is at, where I've got an ad set scaled. Maybe I need to work on a new one now, but my ad set is scaled as far as I can scale that one and still make profit. Now, when you're doing your ads, guys, don't forget that Facebook will retarget for you. So all of my ads here, Facebook's job is to figure out who gets which ad at which time. This P6 here is, I designed it to be my retargeting ad, and it's performing really, really well. So this is one that just says, hey, get an extra 15% off by using this code, welcome15. That's my welcome series code. That's my best performing ad by far, with my best cost per purchase. And that's probably telling me I should probably go make more ads like that, right? I should make more 15% off ads. I'm probably going to do that after this call. Gervy and Canwell. Silly question. One thing you've noticed is that one ad will have a few sales one day and will be no sale the second day, and then again a few sales the next day. Is this a pattern we see so that we can pinpoint which one is our real winner? Yeah, the problem that you're doing is you're looking at a micro scale. That's not how Facebook ads work. We are talking big number theorem when we talk Facebook ads. We're talking like when you go to the casino and you put $50 on roulette on red or black, you feel like you maybe put $50 on red when black has had 4 blacks in a row, and you're gonna win because you can't possibly have another black in a row, and boom, you lose your money. It's come up black again. Is it red and white? I can't remember. It's been a long time. But you feel like if you bet one way, you're a surefire win because there's already been wins in the other direction. And you got to make sure you don't get caught up in that with Facebook. Look at the wider picture. Step back. Look at the wider picture. Yes, it's quite normal for one ad to perform really well one day and terrible the next day. But when you step back and look at it at 3 days, what are the stats? When you step back and look at 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, 15 days, 30 days, you will notice when I look in your accounts, I don't care day to day which one wins. I care over a large period of time. I'm looking at 30 days and 15 days and 7 days. Those are the days that I look at. Well, it's actually, I tell a lie. 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 15 days, 30 days. Those are the scales that I look at. And depending on how much you're spending, if you're spending $1,000 in a day and that's happening, that tells me that we haven't quite hit the money yet. You know, we haven't quite hit that point where your ads are consistently good every day. So they probably need improvement. How do we improve it? We keep doing this. We keep doing these testing cycles. Keep trying to find the winning combination and keep working until you found it. Any more questions? We've got 10 minutes left, so we don't really have enough time to go into anyone's account and start looking at things. So I'm happy to just answer questions about your structures and your processes. Oh, you want to look at your website? Okay, let's look at this. That'll be fun. Let's do that. Roam Steady. Okay. Roamstead. Okay, I hate your with a passion. And please, Lawrence, don't take offense. But I hate your header image with a passion. The text, I don't know. I know it's not, but it feels like it feels like it's stretching in the wrong way. The black on here, I just don't like it. I don't like the color, the background colors up the top here. I'm just. You're almost there on it, but for example, when we have white inside of beige for this section, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great when you have sections that kind of change a little bit of color. I do like this. That's clean. It's nice. I do like this color here, and going from that to white, that is nice, but I don't like it in the header. I do feel like most headers should probably just be plain white. Now, I think you've got, I might be wrong here, but I think you've got a too much white space in your logo, and it's adding too much white space on your menu here. All right, I think you said you wanted to try and sell these tents. Now that is a beautiful image. Really, really good. Australia's most loved instant tent, one person setup, room for everyone. Yeah, that's nice. Very nice. I hate the background color. Love the product image. Love that too. I don't like the angles of the text here because you're coming across as a very professional company, but this doesn't look professional. I mean, the picture does, the colors do, just the angles of the text there. Okay, social proof. Obviously, that's going there later. Ultra fast setup for less camp stress. Built-in rainfly to keep you dry. Oh, does that rainfly actually instantly pop up when you pop up the tent? Interesting. Durable materials for Aussie conditions. Yeah, this is heading in the right direction. That's beautiful. That should be your header image on the main page. This is gorgeous. You don't need a comparison table there. Well, maybe you do. I don't know what you want to do, but yeah, take these. Absolutely pop them into your homepage. And guys, you might not realize, but your homepage is really important. A lot of people are going to go see this first because this is where the Facebook ads takes them. One of the first things that some people do is just go look at the homepage. If the homepage sucks, they're like, I am out of here. I spent a lot of time well, not just me, but my business partner and I spent a lot of time on Stones and Ash to make the whole website feel really, really good. So once we got the website looking good, the whole thing looking good, looking consistent, that's when the sales started turning around and getting really good. So it's part of it. I reckon what you need is a GIF or a video inside the product images here showing someone setting this up in the wet, or showing them setting this up and sort of pointing at the fly and saying this is waterproof. Not saying to replace these, I'm just saying probably add in a video here or putting it up. But yeah, this is looking really nice. Really, really nice. That's going to be an amazing website when you're done. Well, good job. You're doing the gifts today. Anyone else got anything they want me to look at while I'm here? We got like 5 more minutes. I guess not. Anyone have any questions about Facebook ad structure? About anything, actually? Anyone got any questions about anything? Or are you all trying to still comprehend what exactly I just told you guys? You got the color scheme here. Yeah, these are nice actually. Look, I don't hate your color scheme. I just don't like headers that have color. The palette is quite nice. The palette is good. So don't change the palette. Just change how you're using the colors and where you're using them. That's all. That's a cool little tool, that color website. I'm just waiting for Louisiana to finish her message. And then we might end a couple minutes early. Let me get ready for the next one. Nope, no message from Louise. I can't remember who was it. Louisa? Anyway, we might end it. Oh, Lawrence, you're typing, but we might end it there. Give everybody a 5-minute early mark. And I'll be back on Thursday, guys. So if you have questions that and I'll be back on Wednesday. So if you have questions that I didn't answer or you want me to, no problem, Lawrence. Louisiana, that's how I say it, Louisiana. Do I think about Facebook Advantage Plus? I always put Advantage Plus on most of my ads, and it usually works out pretty good. Except for one thing. Actually, one more thing, guys. You have got to be careful of this. I'll see if I can find an example. Okay, one more thing. Inside your ads, you will find, most of you will find this, some of you won't have this yet. Format display options. This nearly killed one of my businesses. So you can see I've got none selected. If anything, do not select carousel. That will allow your ads to be shown as a carousel, which completely killed my performance. You can choose a collection down here, and when you do, it'll sometimes, for some people, put your products down the bottom of your ad. I recommend that. That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Here we go. So it's putting my products at the bottom of my ad here. It's actually nice. I like that. So I will put collection show products, but for carousel, make sure that is empty for your ads. Otherwise, I'll see if I can show you what it looks like. All your hard work gets instantly taken away because your ad gets shown like this to some people, just a bloody carousel. Carousels are great for when you want cheap clicks. Terrible when you have a product that has a purpose that solves a problem, because no one's going to see your beautiful video or your beautiful image. They're just going to see the product image. So be careful of that. All right, ladies and gents, that's it for me tonight. I will see you all again on Wednesday night. And yeah, Lisa, I'll do all of the normal things that I normally do. I'll do website reviews. I'll do Facebook ad reviews, all the normal things. I just had to get this out of the way today. So I'll see you all then.